The Order of Gentlemen would like to remind you that Gentleman Jack gets its exceptional smoothness from a mellowing process it undergoes not once, but twice. Because if once is good, twice is better.
The Chicago business scene is as diverse as the city itself. But we don't always hear from the entrepreneurs who keep the Chicago economy colorful. That's where I come in. I'm Micae Brown, and this is the Micae Brown Report. Priya Shah knew that her knack for the arts wouldn't be overshadowed by her financial background for long. This determined woman set her heart on creating an organization that positively affected underserved youth through the arts, all while keeping her doors open with using her extensive financial background. As we discuss all things arts, we also learn more about some of her personal journey that inspired her to keep going no matter how much the universe may have seemed to be against her. All right. We're just gonna start right in and just talk about what is The Simple Good.
All right. The Simple Good is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to connect the meaning of good from around the world to empower at-risk youth to become positive activists in their community through art and discussion. So through our programming and public art projects and after-school programming, our mission is to transcend the message that no matter where you go in the world, good means the same to all of us, and that is what connects us as human beings.
Give me some examples of the work that you do with the children in terms of the projects.
Yeah, so we implement a 6 to 8 week after-school art program, and it's all centered around social emotional learning, art therapy, as well as positive mindfulness, in order for students to reflect and think about their meaning of the simple good. We incorporate a crowdsourced curriculum, what we like to call a crowdsourced curriculum, where people from around the world have been submitting photography on their meaning of the simple good. And students are actually looking at the photos, reading the stories in order for them to inspire their own meaning of the simple good. And so we like to say that it's really the world teaching our students about good. And what this enables them to do is think about what is good within me and engage in a dialogue of identity, as well as begin a process of cope, which is usually needed in a lot of the at-risk communities that we're in. And at the end of the program, we close it with experiential learning, where we bring the artwork of these students into art galleries or universities in Chicago, get these students out of their communities, and they present on their artwork and their meaning of the simple good and how they're going to use it to change their world.
Interesting. That's so much fun. Yeah. Tell me about the neighborhoods that you're working with. Are there particular groups of children that you target, or do you work with all the schools in Chicago?
Yeah, so we work in underserved communities in Chicago where there's limited art programming already, or there's additional resources that need to be there for the schools. So we're predominantly on the south and west sides of Chicago, but we've also done some international programs. So we have done a program in London and Tanzania where students are actually exchanging their meaning of the simple good with Chicago students and vice versa, and through artwork, in order for them to really create a connection globally and break down barriers on what we are and how different we actually are from each other.
Do you really feel like art is truly making a positive impact within underserved communities, especially when it pertains to behavioral issues?
Yes, definitely. And the reason why I know that is because I'm an artist myself, so that's my connection to it. But in general, art has a beautiful and powerful capacity for students to understand and analyze complexity, also understand the breadth of the human experience, and go through this portal of expression, which allows them to go through this process of cope. And by allowing students to express themselves and create some freedoms, we also create hope within them, which allows them to create goals and decisions in their life, which actually ties to their behavior. And our curriculum is so powerful because it does embed social emotional learning, which allows students to understand how they react to certain trigger points in their life and how they can combat that so that they can be more progressive and thoughtful to others.
When I think about nonprofits, I think about not making any money. It's such a struggle for many organizations that are trying to do good to keep their doors open. Tell me about the model at which Simple Good is able to exist.
Well, so the Simple Good, so I come from a business background actually, even though I'm supposed to be an artist. I actually worked in slums for a very long time, and before I went into university and did an accounting and finance degree because I saw a lot of nonprofits that were started by awesome people that would break down because they didn't have business skill sets. So I figured I had an opportunity to go to university. Let me get something, a degree which will allow me to go back and help these people out in this way. And a nonprofit is run just like a business. And that's what you have to look at a nonprofit as in order for you to stay sustainable. You have to be profitable, you have to make a revenue stream, and that's how you're actually going to help and serve the community. And as people are invested in you and what your work you're doing, that's how you get more people tied into your investment and investing in what you're trying to do in the community.
If there's one perseverance story that you have that has truly shaped and kind of molded you to where you are today, what would that be?
So I think one of the strongest stories that allowed me to understand some turning points and also ties into the work and messaging that I'm doing right now is me playing basketball. So I am actually really passionate about basketball. I grew up playing with my brother, my friends, and I actually played 4 years in high school. And like as you may have noticed, I was born with one hand. And I actually was cut from the team initially, despite being better than other players, because of the way I was born.
Wow.
And it caused, after some controversy in the community, I was actually let back on the team.
Unbelievable.
But it was a really eye-opening time for me because all my life I've done everything on my own. I never really thought about people holding me back or people looking at me a certain way. But you realize growing up that people definitely do take it into account. How people perceive you is sometimes how obstacles are created. We're not born into the world with them. People create them. But for that reason, they can be overcome. And so I played for 4 years and I loved basketball so much that I pushed myself to varsity on my own. And interestingly, it wasn't until varsity year that I realized how much of an impact I made on other people by what seemed to be a small action. And so I was walking off the court after a game one summer during my varsity year, and a coach from a rival team comes up to me. And he comes up to me and he said, "We used you as our inspiration today." And I was a little confused. I was like, what is he talking about? And I never thought that I would be someone else's inspiration.
Right.
But for that reason, I will now push myself even more. It was that small act of me finding my meaning of the simple good, which caused me to pursue a passion, which caused a compliment to happen, which caused my perseverance to never stop. And now I'm here doing this today. It's those small actions, those small good actions that really make a difference in someone's life and allow you to overcome obstacles. So.
If you could formulate a unique hashtag that puts together what you're doing for the Simple Good and this show, what would it be?
Oh, dang, girl, you should have told me that before. I never thought of it. Simple Good and what I'm doing for the show. I would say beautiful empowerment, right?
Yeah.
We're just all trying to uplift each other, keep each other going, share each other's stories, and then, through that union of connectivity through empowerment, I think that's what it would be.
I like it. Beautiful empowerment.
Yeah.